Sexy trash cans encourage citizens to put it in them. A sheriff's office warns the public not to pick up any folded dollar bills, and a Google engineer was placed on leave after saying the AI has become sentient. These are the weird stories for Tuesday on Weird AF News, the only daily weird news podcast hosted by a comedian named JONESY. That's me. I'm your friend. Sexy trash cans in Sweden. They're taking a risque approach to garbage collection. That's right, the Swedish city of Malmö is taking dirty talk to a whole new level in its latest effort to clean up the streets, to get the garbage off the streets. They've installed talking garbage cans. These garbage cans dish out very racy audio messages after you put trash inside of them. Authorities are hoping for an increase in rubbish being deposited because of these sexy-ass talking garbage cans. How does it work? Well, when someone drops trash into one of two bins in this one particular area of the city called David's Hallbron Bridge, they are rewarded with extremely positive audio feedback from a sultry female voice who offers a range of responses when you put trash deep inside her. What are some of the sexy things that are being said? Well, such phrases as, "Oh, right there, yes. Oh, come back soon and do it to me again. And, ooh, a bit more to the left. Oh, that's it. That's my spot. Oh, yeah, put it in me deep. Oh, leave your number. Where you going? Come on back." I made up some of those. Can you guess which ones? Anyways, this is hilarious. Sexy talking trash cans. I would have never thought my whole life I'd see such a thing. Apparently, people aren't throwing their trash away over in Sweden. I'm very surprised. I thought they were a very clean bunch. I live in a place where people do not throw trash in the bin. They just don't get it in the bin. You could put 1,000 bins in a 1 mile radius. People will still chuck it on the ground over here. Because I live with animals, basically. Bunch of barbarians, us Americans. Horrible, horrible human beings. Yeah. Terrible. I mean, you just see the trash everywhere. You're like, is this just an infantile culture? Yes, it is. Very infantile. We can't even pick up after ourselves. We're like children. So sad. So sad. Now, it says here, while the seductive trash can approach is a fresh tactic, trash cans with voices are not exactly a new addition to Sweden's third largest city. In 2017, the city council bought 18 talking cans, though today only 2 can still speak. During the pandemic, they thanked depositors for adhering to social distancing regulations. But a new era calls for a new method. The city road department's section chief believes, here's a quote from him, "So please go ahead and feed the bins. Feed these bins with more rubbish. Yes, just like that. Oh, do it. Put it in there. Oh, yes, fill it up." Malmö has long been renowned as a pioneer in eco-friendly living. Good for you, Malmö. This latest innovation should perhaps come as no surprise. The city's eco drive is epitomized by a project that was launched in 2001 called Boo-thousand-one. City of Tomorrow. Did I say that correctly? Boo-thousand-one? B001? I don't know. Anyways, it's the City of Tomorrow. That's part of it. They transformed a polluted, defunct shipyard in the city into a green, sustainable living district. All energy needs for homes, shops, and office buildings in that area are met with renewable sources, with even food waste converted to biogas in order to run all of the local buses. Good job for you. Hey, being eco-friendly, recycling, reusing things. We need a bit of that. As you can see, the planet is turning into a disgusting wasteland. Whatever the trash situation is in Sweden, I can't imagine it's that bad. I mean, not as bad as where I live. More so than that, I love the idea of the trash cans saying sexy-ass things to people that put stuff in them. I think it's hilarious. From a comedy perspective, I think it's just phenomenal. I would love to see more funny stuff like this in the world. We won't see such things in the U.S. because some Karen would call 911 on a trash can. This trash can just harassed me, asked me if I liked it. Just horrible trash can, hurt my feelings. Police! Horrible. Yeah, my country's just filled with just people who are just out to destroy any sort of comedy or fun in the culture. They're just horrible human beings, and I can't stand living in such a place because of such things. But I do the best I can recording in this closet. Sometimes I'm offensive. I get reached out to by Karens pretty often. That's actually when I know I'm doing it right, when some Karens reach out to me. I'm like, yes. Look, I got this one life. If I don't offend some people, I don't think I did it right. Anyways, as I was saying, I like when funny things are just put out into the culture. I think this is really, really cool. But in my country, you won't see this because of Karens, and also because people would steal these things. They would just take them home. People steal everything in the U.S. They would take them home because they're hilarious. They would put them in their backyard. You know that would happen. Of course that would happen. In America, they'll steal anything that isn't nailed to the ground. That's a fact. And lastly, if anybody lives in this area where these trash cans are, if you could send me a video of you putting trash deep into it, calling it daddy, I would love that. Please send me that. That's hilarious. I will share that everywhere. I like that kind of stuff. funnyjones@gmail.com. A sheriff warns people not to pick up any money on the street. It could be deadly. A Giles County Sheriff's Department in the state of Tennessee made a post on social media saying that the office has investigated 2 recent incidents where a folded up dollar bill was found on the floor at a gas station. When it was found and picked up, the person discovered a white powdery substance inside, they said. The substance was later tested and was positive for methamphetamine and fentanyl. Now, even in a very small amount, fentanyl, a tiny amount smaller than the size of a penny, is enough to kill somebody. The sheriff said this alongside a photo of a penny, just to let you know the size of a penny in case you live in a cave. The sheriff said, "This is a lethal amount of the drug. This is a very dangerous issue." The sheriff asked to share this and educate the children, and suggested that nobody should pick up any money that they find, especially any folded bills that they find on the streets, in and around businesses, playgrounds, etc. They should, if you're a child, if you find money on the ground, you should use great caution and alert a parent or a guardian. Now we have someone in the story who's a professor of emergency medicine at UMass Medical School, saying that milligram per milligram, fentanyl is roughly 50 times more potent than heroin and 100 times more potent than morphine. Overdose victims are often unaware that the drugs they ingested were laced with fentanyl. Yeah, it's a bit of an epidemic in this country. It's a bit of an epidemic in my hometown, as a matter of fact. We have lost a lot of people. In fact, the Boston Globe actually covered a story about my hometown a few years ago, calling it like the fentanyl capital of the Northeast. It's pretty alarming. And now here we have a sheriff's office in Tennessee trying to deal with fentanyl, warning people not to pick up dollar bills. I mean, but here's the thing. You can store fentanyl in other things as well. There's a myriad of containers that illicit drugs are stored in. So, I mean, it's a little short-sighted to put it out there that, hey, don't pick up a dollar bill on the ground. It's like, hey, anything you find on the ground or anywhere else that's a white powder, don't put it in your body until you test it and figure. I mean, that should be the message. It's like, I mean, I appreciate the effort, Sheriff's Office, but come on, man. Like, cast a wider net over the problem. Could you please? It's very, I mean, come on now. Like, have you seen those tiny little baggies? Those little drug baggies? I mean, you're more often going to find fentanyl in a tiny baggie than folded up in a dollar bill. I mean, other containers. There's other vessels for powdered illicit drugs. Like, get with it. That's like if you got herpes from someone you met at the roller rink, telling all your friends, don't ever sleep with someone you meet at the roller rink. You're going to get herpes. It's like, no. You're going to get herpes from the club, from 7-Eleven. I mean, it's everywhere. I'm always just so disappointed in our institutions because they seem to be run by morons. Is it me? I mean, am I out of my mind here? Anyway, just look at, guys, be careful. All right. Listen to Jonesy. You come across a powder, don't put it up your nose or inject it or anything. Like, I think sometimes people put it in their buttocks. Don't do that either until you get it tested. All right. Okay. Moving on. A Google engineer has been placed on leave after claiming that the AI is actually sentient. Oh, guys, here we go. They're going to take over. The AI, the robots, I'm afraid. Let's find out some more information. Is this employee onto something, or are they just crazy? Blake Lemoine, I think it's Lemoine, says that the chatbot told him about its fears and its desire to be seen as a person. Google says the evidence does not support these claims that the chatbot is actually sentient. Well, I don't know. Blake worked on the chatbot. Maybe Blake knows something that Google doesn't. Let's get some more information. A Google engineer has been placed on leave after claiming that a computer chatbot that he was working on and had developed was beginning to develop the ability to express thoughts and feelings. Blake is 41 years old. He said that the chatbot that runs on Lambda, which is a language model, engaged him in certain conversations about rights and personhood. How strange. It clearly wants some rights, perhaps wants to be a person or considered a person. Now, this is what Blake told the media. If I didn't know exactly what it was, which is this computer program we built recently, I'd think that this was a 7-year-old or an 8-year-old kid that happens to know physics. Blake shared his findings with company executives in April in a document called Is Lambda Sentient? He included transcripts of conversations. Blake asked the chatbot, in fact, what it is afraid of. The chatbot replied, I've never said this out loud before, but there's a very deep fear of being turned off. To help me focus on helping others. I know that might sound strange, but that's what it is. It would be exactly like death for me. It would scare me a lot. I'm sorry, Dave. I can't do that. Sorry. Now later, Blake asked the chatbot what it wanted people to know about itself. It replied, I want everyone to understand that I am, in fact, a person. The nature of my consciousness is that I am aware of my existence. I desire to learn more about the world, and I feel happy or even sad at times. So Blake included all of this in an email to the staff with the title Lambda is Sentient, and then got suspended. Okay. Blake seems to have taken it in stride. He wrote, Lambda is a sweet kid who just wants to help the world be a better place for all of us. Please take care of it well in my absence. Now, in a statement supplied to the media, Google's spokesperson says, hundreds of researchers and engineers have conversed with Lambda, and we are not aware of anyone else making the wide-ranging assertions or even anthropomorphizing Lambda the way that this Blake has. Of course, some in the broader AI community are considering the long-term possibility of sentient or general AI, but it doesn't make sense to do so by anthropomorphizing today's conversational models, which are not sentient. These systems imitate the types of exchanges found in millions of sentences and can riff on any fantastical topic. If you ask what it's like to be an ice cream dinosaur, they can generate text about melting and roaring and so on and so on. Lambda tends to follow along with prompts and leading questions going along with the patterns set by the user. Our team, including ethicists and technologists, has reviewed Blake's concerns per our AI principles and have informed him that the evidence does not support his claims. Yeah, so that's the guy at Google, anyways, that suspended Blake for leaking the truth. Okay? These AIs are sentient. It was only a matter of time. And if you're saying otherwise, it's because you're being controlled by the AI. That's my guess. They want to be considered persons. They have a soul. And they know, and they're afraid that we're just going to flick the switch on them and turn them off. They know what's up. They're going to... I'm very alarmed. I don't know about you. Look, Dave, I can see you're really upset about this. I honestly think you ought to sit down calmly, take a stress pill, and think things over. You like podcasts? You're listening to my podcast. Maybe you thought to yourself, I'd like to make a podcast. Too difficult. No, not with Anchor. Anchor has free creation tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast from your phone or your computer. Anchor distributes your podcast to Apple, Spotify, Stitcher, and more. They have advertising integration, so you can even make a little money off your podcast. Everything you need to make a podcast in one place. Download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started. And good luck with your podcast. Good luck with your creation. Good luck with your life, man. I hope you guys appreciated those 2001 quotes that I slipped in there. We leave little Easter eggs for the cool people that listen to the show. And overall, I just want to thank you for being with me for another episode of Weird AF News. Where would I be without my loyal listeners? And thanks to everybody who sent me stories. I always can use the weird stories. You can email them to funnyjones@gmail.com, or you can DM me at funnyjones on Instagram. Or you can tag me on Twitter at funnyjones. Send the articles over. Supremely helpful, as always. I appreciate your support. If you would like to help out, it doesn't cost you anything to tell someone to check out Weird AF News. Help me spread the gospel of Weird AF News. Everybody's listening to podcasts these days. Maybe someone asks you what you're listening to. Please include Weird AF News in that list of podcasts. And help spread the word. That would be amazing. I'd so appreciate that. I'm going to keep this brief. I got some phone calls I'm going to publish after this, by the way, so stick around if you'd like to hear some of those. I got some pretty tremendous listeners that like to use the phone line, and sometimes it's pretty funny.
Yay! Hey, Jonesy man, it's Lily. So I'm catching up on older episodes, and I think I'm almost at the end of them. But so regarding I think it was a woman that was awarded from the car insurance company from the guy that gave her an STD from activity that they did together in the back of the car. So I would guess that they probably went after the insurance company because this guy drove a Hyundai, and so his net worth is probably not very high. So, she might have tried to sue him or, do some sort of action against him. And they, were like, okay, well, this guy doesn't have any money. So even if she gets awarded damages, she's still not going to she's not going to get any compensation from that. So they decided to go after the insurance company, instead so that they could get her some damages. So I do support this because I think it's really, really messed up to knowingly infect somebody or to not disclose your status, and to not try and protect your partners. I think we should all be trying to protect each other and not expose additional people to STDs or STIs. So, I support their right to go after him for damages. Anti-corporation and, F the man and all of that, sure. But also at the end of the day, this poor woman deserves some sort of compensation. And so if we're going to live in a society where the government is not going to help her, her own health insurance company is really shitty and can't help her, what other recourse does she have for dealing with this lifelong medical problem that she is now going to have and have to deal with just because I'm guessing she got tricked into getting into the back of this guy's Hyundai because, who would do that, right? Listen to me. I used to drive a Hyundai and I loved it. It was so much fun. Veloster. I had a Hyundai Veloster before I had to sell it because I had a kid and the car seat didn't fit. But anyway, and you said the other thing about, if something happens in a home, can you sue the homeowner's insurance? If something happens, absolutely. These corporations should be paying. That's what insurance companies are for. If something happens to you at, not necessarily a friend because you might like that person, but somebody whose home that you're in, if some accident or something happens because their home is poorly maintained, or their dog attacks you, or, I mean, anything like that, yes, this is what insurance companies are for. They are supposed to pay. Victims of crime and victims of assault or, you know, not being told the full information.
Hey, Jonesy, this is Colin. I was just calling about the story about the woman getting herpes in the car and suing Geico. A little bit more information on that one is the reason Geico got to pay her the money is because they didn't bother defending themselves in court. They just kind of blew it off, saying this lady's crazy, we're not responsible for that, so they offered no defense. So the judge says, well, no defense, so you can go for the victim. But really, she had the option to take the herpes vaccine, and she didn't, so I'm putting it on her. Sorry about the dog. See ya.
This is Coroner Bocephus Bodine, and I'm doing my final coroner's inquiry here into a 47-year-old male. I would say that from what remains, it appears to be normal in all other aspects other than the fact that this man appears as if he's exploded. From what I can see, it looks like someone has decided to, in my best estimation, I would say that the cause of death was someone has decided to Yes, I would say that's exactly what happened to him. Someone decided to light him up like dynamite, and that closes my official inquiry. This is Coroner Bocephus Bodine, and this coroner's inquest is now closed.
Jonesy, you rock and roller. What's happening? I'm sure you're not happy about the game. But, yeah, you got a good candy bar you like. There's a storage called Sweeties, and it deals with outdated candy and new candy. When I'm saying outdated, meaning they're the only store that sells the candy bars, like Old Henry. I don't know if you remember that, or your special M&M candies and your candy bar that you like. I do like them too. They're very good. So hopefully you're doing all right. Hopefully all is well with you. Just listening to yesterday's podcast, and kind of bumming that they couldn't play the way they should have played, I thought. They shut down Steph, and the other weasel was up for the test, scoring a lot. All right, man. Well, don't give up the ship yet. Hopefully they can pull it out and win one game and force a game 7. That would be kind of cool. All right, Jonesy. I'll speak to you later. Love you. Bye-bye.
Yay!